Programming is sponsored by Sweet Bay. Sweet Bay is a bayfront village in Panama City designed to inspire natural and relaxed living with a dash of southern charm. The Sweet Bay community features parks, walking trails to the water, a future town center, and much more. It's got all the makings of a friendly neighborhood with everything you need, just a short walk away. For more information about the Sweet Bay community, call 844-35-SWEET or go online to sweetbayfl.com.
This is Coach's Corner.
Welcome, Commodore fans, to Coach's Corner, a production of Gulf Coast State College and the digital media program here at Gulf Coast. Going to talk to Coach Jay Powell about how the Commodores did this past few weeks. We're going to talk about 3 panel conference games and what the 2 that are coming up this week and everything going on. Commodores right now 15-6 overall, 1-3 in the panel conference, and receive votes in the state coaches poll. So we'll back up way back to January 10th, Coach. We went over to Northwest Florida, played in the arena, played against the unbeaten #1 team in the country, which is a tough place to go play to start with against a very good team. Commodores came up short 95-53. Let's talk about the game a little bit.
We did not compete as well as we should have that game. It was disappointing from a coach's standpoint that we were there. We cut it to, we had about a 13-point deficit at half, and then we kind of made a little run and had some energy, missed a couple of bunny shots, and in the last about 12 minutes of the game, they dominated us and played tougher and played harder and at a higher level and more focused than we did. And so please excuse me for being brief on that. It's not a real good memory. We watched the film, and we'll watch the film again today to make sure we're prepared for Wednesday night when we play Northwest Florida again. But not a lot of great things to say about that game, but we were fortunate. Travels were safe, and so we came up short. End of the day, whether you lose by a bunch or lose by 1, though, in the conference standings and on your overall record, it's either a win or a loss. So we moved on from there knowing that we had to get better and had to get tougher.
Yeah, because the only double-figure scoring you had was from Will Robertson with 22. Everybody else in single digits. So, and in that environment with the freestanding goals and the floor down like it is, what kind of effect did that have on our shooting that night?
Well, we do not shoot the ball just great from the perimeter anyway, statistically speaking, even though I do believe we have some guys that are nice shooters at times. Miles McGregor being our best perimeter shooter and has made some big shots and done some real nice things for us shooting the ball this year. So it does affect us. We had played 2 games there, though, in November, and we have a couple of sophomores and guys that have played at the 4-year level, so they've been in that type of environment before. They were just, on that night, they were just much better than us, and I could give 1,000 excuses. At the end of the day, though, that just is what it is.
So we could talk about, they were 3 of 17 Gulf Coast from the 3-point line. So, that was the shooting theme against the #1 team in the country. You don't want to take anything away from Northwest Florida either. Their defensive side of the ball is really good. They're good on the offensive side of it, and are a very good basketball team. So Herman and I talked about that. It's wow. How can you get that many players in one place to play together? Is just amazing, But,
yeah. Since you bring up the question, you asked the question, it's, they've got a great situation. Coach DeMayo's a great coach. They have absolutely wonderful scholarship packages. They have kind of the mecca of junior college basketball arenas. So they have an institutional philosophy on some things, and so they've got a great setup over there. We have a great setup here as well, but they have a lot going for them, and they're making the most of it right now, and so kudos to them for doing that.
So now, it's always interesting to see how a team will bounce back from that. So on the 13th, at Gulf Coast, we played Pensacola State, won 59-57, in a battle. And, that was good to bounce back and recover from what happened against Northwest Florida. So let's talk about that game a little bit.
You're right. It is good that we bounced back and we got down 18-4 to start the game, and I would probably be deceitful if I didn't say that the guys were questioning a little bit about, man, this stinks. And of course, as the coach, I'm not one to try to hide things like this. I was even saying, come on, man, we've got to be better than this. And then a couple good things happened, and all of a sudden, maybe we had the realization, we're not that bad. It's what we've been playing, and we just continue to compete. Like you mentioned, the last two games, Pensacola and Chipola, probably the thing that I'm the most proud of is, unlike when we had played elite competition earlier, we never did give in to fatigue. We never did give in to adversity. We have some men on the team that, for all purposes that you look at them and talk to them, you would think that they would be very, very tough and physically and mentally and emotionally, and you'd think that they've been through a lot. But when that adversity hit us in those games early in conference, we didn't respond very well. We didn't respond like we were very tough. And then part of that goes on me. Maybe I haven't been mean enough and hard enough on them in practice daily to create adversity so that they know how to handle it. You think about all kinds of things as a coach. So as you said, men kept fighting. We had a man step up and take 2 or 3 charges in the last couple of minutes. We had some guys make shots, and so just a team effort. We got the job done, and I was very impressed. I was pleased with our effort and performance on both ends, really, because Pensacola plays good defense and usually limits people's scoring, and then we did that as well against them.
And so, because if we look at first half scoring, it was 35, Pensacola 27, Gulf Coast. Commodores came back 32-22 in that second half to win that game. We run down scoring, Robertson with 14, Smith with 11, McGregor with 14. So those were your leading scorers for the night, and pretty much have been that mixture thus far.
Yes, we have a couple of guys that are volume guys. They shoot it a lot, and so they do score a lot. Then we have a couple of guys that are a little more efficient with their shooting. But we're still trying to develop and continue to improve our efficiency as a group. And so hopefully that will continue. I do like the way that we're headed with our toughness with the last 2 games. And so hopefully that will continue, because we're getting into the meat of the schedule here where, if we're going to make the state tournament, we're going to have to win multiple games. And we're going to have to win a couple in a row, and then maybe a couple, 3 more in a row. And so I like where we're headed. And again, that goes on me a lot. I've probably, we were winning ball games, and for a multitude of reasons, no sense in getting into, I probably have not, yelled at the guys and gotten after the guys and, I don't know if you're supposed to say this, but chewed them out and, created adverse situations where they were uncomfortable enough. And all of a sudden, the other teams provided that uncomfortableness for us, and we didn't handle it very well those first 2 conference games. So now we're moving forward, and I'm creating that, and the guys have kind of started to figure out how hard you have to play. And so I think we're heading in a good direction.
And some of that also is, Coach, it's very difficult to prepare any team in a Panhandle Conference to play another Panhandle Conference team till they play them. So you got all those freshmen that are coming in, and you keep telling them it's coming and it's coming and it's coming, and they don't know what's coming till they actually play those games.
That's true.
So in other words, if I was a freshman, and they've come from great programs, but the Panhandle Conference, is the elite conference probably in the country, and to play those Panhandle Conference games, it's like, now they're starting to grow up a little bit, and they're going, wow, what the coaches told us is true. It's going to be hard. It's going to be a dogfight every night. You're just going to have to scrap for everything. So Saturday night, we went to Chipola and lost 81-69. Game a lot closer Then they added in the second half, we leading back and forth and doing some things. Chipola is a tough place to play. When you went into that game, a win for the Commodores puts us tied for second. So a lot of pressure, a lot of tradition, you know, and the men played, they competed.
Yes, I mentioned to you before we started today, I felt like coming home from the game Saturday was different than coming home from most every time in my career when we've lost a game. Disappointed, upset about the way we did not make plays at the end. We didn't have men step up and make some plays that we could have and we should have. But it wasn't as if we just went out there and got totally outplayed. Right. There was a time with about 4.5, 5 minutes to go that we were up 2 points. Right. And then a couple of things happened. Some adversity. We missed a couple of shots. We made a couple of turnovers that were unnecessary. And then all of a sudden, we're down 8 and we're fouling and we can't catch back up because the end of the game comes. But we stood toe-to-toe with them on their court. They're a great team. We know that. We know that they're very talented. And so we'll move on with our next opponents, but, you know, they'll come back to our place next round and you know, they're a great team. Anything can happen, but we will put our best foot forward against them next time in order to try to get a win. But the guys competed, like you said, and we were right there. A couple of calls maybe go a different way, and I didn't really say much to the officials Saturday. It's not like it's on them, but just in the grand scheme of the game, a couple of calls go a different way. Maybe we had 3 turnovers, 2 by one guy, 1 by another guy, where we just threw the ball to the other team. You know, those 3 plays go different. We get a bucket or 2 on those things. And then all of a sudden, wow, boom, we win the game on the road and still won. So, you know, sometimes you're not going to come out on the good end of those neck-and-neck games.
And, you know, quickly, Robertson with a double-double, 25 points, 10 boards. Quadre Smith, I thought, came out from the tip playing, 18 points for the night. But I think another factor of it, Howard and Mayhem, you know, between them hit 9 threes. You know, Howard had 5. He was 5 of 9, and Mayhem was 4 of 9. So those they shoot. They're very comfortable in their gym.
You make a good point, so. and we were willing to. We don't guard the ball very well in the half court, and so we've kind of decided to mix things up a little bit and play some zone. We were kind of willing for Howard and Mayhem for 13 and 0 to make some shots. Now they made 11 threes in the game, but that's only 33 of the points. And so we kind of had figured, even if they shoot it well, that's going to be about 33 to 39 points. And we can be right there with them. And that was true. Where it went off is we didn't really think that Kennedy, number 2, was going to dominate the post area and dominate in there on us and go to the line and make us free throws and dunk on us a few times. We didn't think that. We thought we'd be able to limit him more than what we did. So those 33 points total, I think just maybe 7 or 9 from those 2 guys, 27 points from those 2 guys. We kind of knew that, and you're not going to hold a team to 0. So next time we play, we definitely have to do a better job on Kennedy and not let him go for 22 and, several rebounds and things like that. Because the idea or the concept that we're going to be able to just, hold everybody down, I like that concept. I've had some teams that have been able to do that, but this just hasn't really seemed to be one yet. And we're at a point now where you have to, adjust and make decisions as a coach.
So with all that being said, we're at home Wednesday night. Tallahassee will be here, and then let me make sure I'm looking at right. Northwest Florida will be here Wednesday night, and then we get to go to Tallahassee Saturday. So come out and watch the Commodores play Wednesday night against the number 1 team, ranked team in the country in the Billy Harrison Fieldhouse. We'll be right back, Commodore fans, with Coach Rooney Scovel and talk about how the women did.
Programming is sponsored by Sweet Bay. Sweet Bay is a bayfront village in Panama City designed to inspire natural and relaxed living with a dash of Southern charm. The Sweet Bay community features parks, walking trails to the water, a future town center, and much more. It's got all the makings of a friendly neighborhood with everything you need, just a short walk away. For more information about the Sweet Bay community, call 844-35-SWEET or go online to sweetbayfl.com.
Welcome back, Commodore fans. Now, Coach Scovel and I will talk about the Lady Commodores and how they did the past 3 conference games and 2 big ones coming up this week. So right now, Lady Commodores 15-2 overall, 3-1 in the panel conference state coaches poll, ranked number 1 in the NJCAA national poll, ranked number 3 in the country. Now those polls will all come out this week and things will change and move and do, but as of today, that's where we're at. And we'll start with a hard-fought battle on January 10th with Northwest Florida. Always a hard place to play against a very good team, well-coached battle. Ladies had to come from behind. If you weren't there, you missed a well of a game because it was just a nice game for us. Because it turned out to 50-48. You know, first quarter tied 12-12, and at the end of the half it was 24-20. So you can see that it was just a defensive battle from both sides of it. We came back. Northwest came back in the third, won 15-9, and then we came back in the fourth, won 17-13. But thoughts on the game, Coach?
Well, like we say, it was a tough game defensively. Both teams played well, contained well. The venue, we didn't shoot the ball well, and you know, a lot of that to do with Northwest defense. But you know, Northwest is very disciplined. Their style of play is very disciplined, and I think they're holding teams in the 50s and high 40s. So they play great defense, and for us to be able to, you know, we got behind and we had to foul, and we had to kind of do some special situation stuff. And for 11 seconds of that game, our execution of doing things under special situations was almost picture perfect. We just missed the layup, but we did get the offensive rebound 2 different times. So for 11 seconds, we did a lot of great things. You know, sorry we couldn't have done it earlier, but then we kind of got lucky because we put them on the line and they missed. So, you know, I think things kind of fell our way, and I'm not sure if we beat them or maybe they handed that to us by not getting one of those 2 free throws that they had.
And so, well, you know, that's why you live and die from the free throw line.
Right.
And normally, if you look, most of the time, if you look at free throw shooting percentages, that night we were 80% from the free throw line, and I think they were, let me get to the right, 41.
Right.
So that night, free throw shooting was definitely in our favor.
Yes, gave us a win.
And gave us a win at the time. You know, the only Lady Commodore in double figures was Jeter with 19. Everybody else held to single digits.
Yeah, it was a low-scoring game. Didn't shoot the ball. We didn't shoot the ball well at all, you know. And we've just had those nights this year. You know, we've had nights where we shot well, but you know, when we win, and we usually win big when Jeter and Bennett shoot the ball well. But we've probably had more games that we haven't shot well from the perimeter, and we have to fight and claw. And this was one of them that we had to do that because we weren't shooting well, and we did stay in there. We didn't give up. We fought, and we came back and got a good win on the road. Yeah, we talk about it's gonna, when you try to count how many you can get on the road, that's probably not one I counted, so we're very, very fortunate that we came out of there with a win.
Because they're very well coached. That's a tough place to play. They got a lot of tradition there. And so when you talk about perimeter shooting, we were 4-27 from the three-point line for 14.8%. You know, and a lot of that, you got to give Northwest Florida credit. You know, they were out there doing pressure. On the other hand, we were defending well also. So, you know, they scored 48 points.
Right.
So you got to look at, you know.
We did some good things too.
And some good things. The nice thing about that game was the lady had to scrap, and like you said, special situations, they executed perfectly.
Yeah, they did.
And in a game like that, I believe they grew up a lot, they learned a lot, and they learned how to come from behind. So, which was a good game. Then on January 13th, we hosted Pensacola here, won big, 82-61, in a big game for us, because, you know, Pensacola is a much better team than they've been in the past. And that, you know, the score may say, oh, they're not, but the Pensacola State ladies are pretty good.
Yeah, they've had some good wins. They, you know, they beat Chipola, and they went into overtime with Northwest, so they're going to get somebody. That's going to be one of those road games that's going to be tough to get. They're talented. They're quick. We just had one of those nights though that we played well, and when our players play to the best of their ability, we're tough to beat. We've just got to figure out a way to get more consistent with that. It's been real inconsistent throughout the year, and down the stretch with 8 games left, we're going to have to get better, or we're not going to come out of these rounds with 3 wins again if we don't get better with consistency.
And if we look at that night, now Bennett had 27, Jeter with 26, Dunlap with a double-double, 10 points, 11 rebounds. So in that game, they're all pretty close to their average or right there. So good shooting night, like you talked about earlier. Now look at the point spread.
Right.
A little different there.
Right.
So, and then, we traveled Saturday night up to Chipola College. And Chipola College and Gulf Coast State College have been a traditional battle from day one, I think. They would rather battle against each other than anybody else. And we went up there and played, and they're a much better team than their record was showing at the time. And we went up there and battled, came up short, 64-60. Let's talk a little bit about that game.
Yeah, I think probably the reverse of the Northwest game. We won a ball game because they missed free throws, and this time we lost a ball game because we missed a lot of free throws. Not just a couple, but a lot. We missed 15 free throws, and when you sit there and say all you do is just make 5 more, the percentage didn't even have to be that wonderful, and we win the ball game just based on free throws alone. And then go back and look at some of the other mistakes that we made defensively or offensively or in execution. We didn't respond to the aggressive play very well. We didn't step up. We kind of let them bully us. And we didn't respond to that until too late. About mid-third quarter, we kind of stepped up and said, we're going to play this way, let's play. We made a nice comeback, but it was too little too late.
And they got used to that, and a lot of that is there was a whole lot of body contact. They kept their hands clear, but, technically you can foul with the body, but there was a lot of contact. That was a physical game.
It was. There's been several that way this year, and and we managed to get through it. And the Northwest game was that way. It was physical, and we battled our way through that one. We just didn't battle this time, and for whatever reasons, we didn't battle. And when you look at the end of the day and look at the result, and as a coach, you got to figure out, okay, there's something that I didn't do to get them ready. I was telling our girls the other day, whenever I played, my dad was always harder on us. He was not your typical parent today. He was always like, get them out, and it'd be me, get her out because she's not any good. And I can just hear him saying, this is your fault, Roon. That's what he'd say, Coach, this is your fault. And I'd say, why? He said, you should have coached them better. So I can hear that voice, you should have coached them better. And so we're going to try to figure that out today and try to get ready for Wednesday. Yeah,
because you talk about missing 15 free throws. Should be the easiest part of the game. Nobody's moving. The goal's there. It's all stationary. You have all the time in the world. But sometimes once you get in quicksand at the free throw line, it's hard to get out of.
It's kind of contagious, and you got to be in a mindset. You got to be focused. So again, some of these things have been a problem for this team since day one. I've had to come up with different drills on how to shoot free throws to get that focus. So obviously, I didn't put enough emphasis on that last week. So as a coach, you got to figure out the pieces that make each team. They each have their own personality, and this team's been quite the challenge to find what button to push on what day on what week, and so I got to work harder and work better to get the right buttons pushed at the right time.
Now, we do have to say something. Bennett, 32 points. I mean, averaging 18, scored 32, and she was doing everything in the world and taking a beating at the same time to do that. So I played extremely well. Yeah, she
did. Once she got a little frustrated and they bullied her, she kind of fought back, and so I was proud of Shayla that she got uncomfortable in her own skin. That's not her style, but once they did bully her, she did step up to the plate and say, "Then I'll fight back," and she did, and had a great night. Not great enough to carry us, but great enough probably to keep us in the game.
It kept us there and all that, and some of that is, she's been there before. Where Jeter scored 14, averaging 20, under had not. These Panhandle Conference games are different than probably any game they may have ever played in.
Yep.
So, and then, Dunlap with 4 points, averaging 13. So
we just didn't get what we were. We didn't get our normal numbers, and we talked about other people. I heard Gino Auriemma on an interview one night when they had a close game with Texas. I was watching Adrienne play, and after the game, he said, "We got to get more points from our bench. The next couple of weeks, we're going to spend time trying to get more points from our bench." And I think that's something that we have to do. We keep depending on the same people to get it done, and they're going to emphasize the defense is going to be they're going to be double teams and triple teams at times. So we've got to start emphasizing other people being able to step up and gaining some confidence. We have a lot of newcomers, and we've got to get them to gain some confidence so that they can step up when others can't. When the go-to people can't get it done, and then okay, the next woman up and perform and produce, and we're just not at that point yet, and we're in the middle of conference play, and we still don't have it. So something got to happen. We got to get better.
So, but we played 4 now, been through a round one time. At the beginning, was you thinking you'd be 3-1 at this stage?
It's kind of interesting because somebody after the game, quickly said, "Oh, it's going to be a lot longer ride home than it was coming over," and I was like, "Well, I don't think so, because when you look at the Panhandle play and you walk out of the first round and you're 3-1 and you're tied for first with basically the half-game lead because it's Northwest. If somebody would have told me we would have been 3-1 after the first round of conference play, when the season started with this whole new team with no veteran starters, and I probably would have said you were crazy. So sometimes I think we forget because of our past success. We forget about what the battle is now. We keep looking for the end result in March. Well, you're not getting to March if you don't get the battle here. So we have to appreciate what these young ladies are doing. Yes, we have to get better. But at the end of the day, we're tied for first with basically a brand new team. So I'm very proud of that.
And then Wednesday night, Northwest will come to town.
Oh, yeah, they're coming to beat us.
So the 2-3-1 records are going to play each other.
Somebody's going to be first after Wednesday night.
After Wednesday night. And so and how important it is to have fans in the stand for that game.
Oh, our fans are great. They travel with us, and we had a good outing at Chipola. That's always fun because that's as a coach, that's a little bit of a hostile environment when you get beat, and it kind of motivates you to go to work. Kind of fun. But our fans are great. They've been great this year and coming and supporting us and being the sixth man. Our fans have great basketball knowledge, and they kind of hang in there with us when we need a push and embrace us when we're doing well. So there's nothing better than the Gulf Coast fans.
And we're talking about the Lady Raiders, ranked number 5 in the NJCAA national poll. And then Saturday, we get to go to Tallahassee and play the 4th-ranked team in the country as the poll stands now.
Yeah.
So another tough place to really go and play.
Yeah, that's one of those where you say, boy, it's going to take a lot to get a road win, because you try to map out where you can get enough victories to postseason play. And Tallahassee's one where I think we'll really have to overachieve to sneak a win on the road there.
Yeah, because that's a tough place.
Yeah, it's a tough place to play.
That's a tough place to play, and they're at Chipola Tuesday night.
Yeah.
And so it'll be interesting to see how that turns out. You know how hard it is to go to Chipola, because they could come up short there.
Yeah, you never know.
You just never know about this thing. So, 2 more rounds, 8 games, only 2 teams move on. So
right. It's a battle.
It can't get any more exciting than that.
It's fun. This is absolutely fun. And, not so much fun today after a loss, but, we woke up Sunday morning and the sun was shining and we're ready. Let's go.
Let's go. So, for Coach Rooney Scovel, I'm James Baxley. Thanks for watching, Commodore fans, and we'll see you next time on the Commodore Sports Network.
This has been Coach's Corner with your host, James Baxley.